everyone. This is Andy, Director of Education at Jazz St. Louis, and welcome to our first video on how you can better understand America's greatest art form, jazz. Today we're going to talk about form in jazz. Form is an integral part of almost any music, but even more than the longer forms in Western classical music, shorter forms in jazz are always on the musicians' minds and provide the framework that allows jazz musicians to improvise while still playing together. Form is the structure or organization of a musical composition. Think of it like a roadmap. Some forms are long and winding, like a sonata form that may last through the entire 10-minute movement of a symphony. Some are shorter loops, like a racetrack, that musicians circle repeatedly throughout the entire tune. This organizational structure that makes up the form can be heard through two of the main elements of music, melody and the harmony, or the chords. Let's start with the melody. This is a melody I think we're all familiar with. Now, we can add the chords to it, adding the underlying harmony that complements the melody. Now what I just played there was the entire form of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. If we wanted to, we could repeat that over and over again, giving me as much room as I needed to improvise or create new melodies over. What you most often hear when you listen to jazz is that musicians play the melody, take turns playing solos over the form, and then return to the melody to finish the song. The form keeps going this entire time, meaning that the same series of chords, or the chord progression, is continuing over and over throughout the song. Each pass through the form is what we call a chorus. Listen to the first track on our accompanying playlist available in the description of this video, which is the Charlie Parker classic, Now's the Time. This is a blues, one of the most common forms in jazz and all of American popular music. We'll be learning even more about the blues in a later video. Most blues like this one are 12 measures long, with each measure having 4 beats in it. See if you can follow the form throughout the track. There is a 4-measure intro followed by 2 choruses of the melody played by Parker on the alto saxophone, 5 choruses of saxophone solo, 2 choruses of piano solo, 1 chorus of bass solo, 1 chorus of drum solo, and then the melody returns for just 1 chorus before they end the song. Don't worry, you don't have to remember all that. We'll put up a listening guide for you to follow along as you listen through the track. Now that we've experienced listening for the form and Now's the Time, let's dig a little deeper. Even simple songs like Twinkle Twinkle can be broken down into smaller sections. This helps us organize the melody and chord progression into easily digestible chunks that are easier to learn and remember. Musicians often label these based on whether or not a section is the same or different than the sections that came before it. Twinkle is broken down into 3 sections, with each section lasting 4 measures or bars, and each measure consisting of 4 beats. Let's listen to the first section and count along. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. We'll assign that section letter A. Now the second section, while still 4 measures, is different than the first, so we'll need to label it with the letter B. Let's take a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Finally, the third section is a repeat of the first one, so we'll label it another A section, making the whole form A, B, A. Let's listen again to the whole thing and hear those 3 different sections. So here's A, so there's a 12-bar A-B-A form. Now we've experienced that form, we've experienced a 12-bar blues. But a lot of forms in jazz are longer than that. One of the most common form lengths in jazz is 32 bars or measures. Usually in these songs, we break them down into 8-bar or 8-measure sections, again assigning letter names to each section and repeating those letter names if the melody or the chords are identical, or at least very close to another section. Now let's check out the melody to this jazz standard, Afternoon in Paris, which utilizes a very typical 32-bar form, which goes A, A, B, A. Now, listen for that AABA form in this melody. So here's the first A. Here comes the second A. Now comes the B section. Back to A. So again, that's an AABA form. So same, different, same. You can listen to a full version of Afternoon in Paris on the playlist in the description of this video. Some songs have slightly different forms than that though, like the classic Autumn Leaves, which starts out similar, AAB, and then finishes with a new section at the end, making the whole form AABC. There are also variations like Horace Silver's Song for My Father, which is just a 24-bar AAB form, just lopping off that final A section. All of these examples can be heard on that playlist, so check them out and see if you can hear the form in each of them. I hope this has helped you better understand what you hear when you listen to jazz. Please feel free to leave me questions in the comment section and make sure to check back with Jazz St. Louis for more great content. See you soon.